What's going on, everybody? Jon Jones is the greatest of all time, and we shall prevail.
Over the last decade, MMA has become more sanitized, structured, and corporate than anyone could have previously imagined. Having cool fight shorts used to be a privilege given only to the best fighters. You used to have to earn them by making enough money to not need to have that many ads on your shorts. Or if you did, you only had a couple, like Jon Jones had Nike and Gatorade on his shorts. But it was just the two. The UFC made this choice in the interest of moving the sport forward, as well as moving their company forward into the 21st century, trying to become a publicly traded company, trying to raise their stock price. A world where Carlos Condit can't have Condom Depot ads on his trunks is a world I don't want to live in. But we can have Riz Pharma on the octagon. Get that kid out of here. The presentation is just too clean. Anytime stats appear or the clock comes and goes, there's a little swoosh noise. We don't need that. We don't need to be fancy. What does that add to the broadcast? Who are we appeasing here with swoosh noises? And the walkouts are pretty hit or miss too. I don't care if they're goofy or expensive or a hassle. For your big stars, pull as many strings as you have to. Entrances and the atmosphere that they provide are some of my fondest memories of being a fan. Paddy's homecoming in the UK. Alex Pereira wading towards the octagon and then yelling with everybody. Everybody's yelling in sync. Everybody's in on it. It's great. Hamzat sprinting out like a madman as Chechnyan war music follows him. Yuri Prohaska reminding us how legends are made. Okay, maybe not that one. But the UFC has a monopoly. So what are you going to do? Go to a local promotion, watch two cab drivers beat each other up? You want to see the best. But you don't want presentation like it's the frickin' PGA Tour, man. So where are we going to find a large-scale alternative that embraces MMA for what it truly is? The competition that Pride FC provided gave the UFC a reason to not slack. It felt like they brought their A-game a little more often, right? Now we get Jairzinho Rozenstruik versus Shamil the Blob Gaziev as a fight night main event, because ESPN needs something to broadcast on a Saturday night. Flat out, there's just too many events. 52 weeks in a year, we get probably 45-ish events. That's too many. I would even be okay with the UFC going down to a consistent 3 cards a month, as long as it means we get better high-quality cards. And we combine a couple of fight nights because we've had some absolutely horrid main events. Too many women's fights. Mackenzie Dern versus Angela Hill main evented a fight night in the year of our Lord 2024. I don't know about you guys, but I actually cared about the 100th Apex fight night. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought maybe like the milestone pay-per-views, they'd do something. They would stack the 100th Apex event. Nope. Hey man, the Apex bailed us out during COVID and is where we get the first look at some of the biggest up-and-coming stars in the Contender Series. How about we throw a good name on there? What did we get? Neil Magny versus Carlos Prates? That's a good fight, but it should just be like the feature fight, maybe the co-main. There should have been something a little bit better. It should have been a celebration of the Apex and what it meant, and have some more fighters that competed there regularly. Mearshart was a good pick, but we needed a couple more. The UFC just did not care about the significance of the event. Okay, well, I guess we could always watch Ryzen or One or PFL.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Take everything I just said about the UFC and multiply it by 4, and you got the PFL. Just yesterday, they're like, oh, you can throw elbows now. Really? Elbows, yeah, okay. But only in the finals and only in title fights. Oh, come on! Because they're trying to prevent injuries and cuts so they can turn people around quickly in these weird Grand Prix tournaments. They bought Bellator, and they took all the contracts of some decently entertaining fighters, Corey Anderson, Patchy Mix, couple others, and they're not giving them fights. They're not even booking Bellator events anymore. The end is nigh for Bellator, which sucks, because I actually kind of like Bellator. They had maybe one good card a year, but at least it was good. Now they've been absorbed into this weird MMA sport hybrid that's even worse than the UFC, even more sanitary. And oh, we're just like football. We got a ref cam. We're just like football. We got ref cams, cameras everywhere. We're going to do a season and a bracket and a point system, and it just doesn't fit. PFL and the UFC both air on the same network, that is ESPN. They're owned by Disney. Great googly moogly. If I could get my hands on Bob Iger and James Pitaro and that stupid little mouse, I'll have to drown that fucker in a trough. They're also partially to blame for this. They push for the championship belts to get changed, and when they're on a big network, You've got a big money deal, you're beholden to their interests. They want to have UFC fighters at the ESPYs, and they want them to be celebrities. Oh, everybody knows this guy. Oh my God, it's Alex Pereira, worldwide phenomenon. Alex Pereira. Look at him. He has a catchphrase and everything. And then maybe a little bit more concerning is Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi throwing in oil money like it's going out of style. And they want certain things out of MMA too. They want their people to win, obviously. Not their people, of course, but people that have the same base religion set as them. Even now, if you've been to some parties in that part of the world, they are not practicing. Okay. They want it to be like boxing. They want concerts in the middle of events. They want random belts. They want celebrities. When they get pro wrestling events, they want dead people over there, like actually people that have been dead for 20 years, and you have to appease the people, so you get someone that kind of looks like him, and you say, yeah, that's just like him, man. And they believe it, too. They just don't understand the idea of being reserved and less being more. I talked about entrances earlier, right? There hasn't been a lot of live band performances for entrances, right? I can remember Conor McGregor was serenaded to the octagon by Sinead O'Connor. And that's about it for the modern era. So maybe a little bit more of that, but not as much as the Saudis, okay? They go a little nuts down there. Remember the Battle of the Baddest? Remember Riyadh season? Remember the woman in the cage? But there is a difference between the old fans and the newer fans. And I'm not saying this to be mean or call people a casual, call them a fake fan. I'm not in the business of doing that. Enjoy what you want, enjoy it how you want. But MMA got too popular too quick, and it got too much crossover appeal too quick. And there's this idea floating around that either you care about fighting or you care about fighters. You care about the struggle between two people and the combat and stuff like that, or you care about more personal struggles and the journey that they had to go through to get there and their backstory and stuff like that. I can understand both of those. But there is a mythical third type of fan who cares not about fighting, not about fighters, not about the organization, but the idea of the UFC. Not even the idea of MMA, the idea of the UFC as a place that isn't politically correct, man, and it's counterculture. And everybody wants to be part of the counterculture until it's not counterculture anymore, big guy. So these people care about, oh yeah, I'm an MMA fan. I like it because it's more violent than soccer and football. It's not ballet. But I think they fell in love with the idea of something that wasn't mainstream. They didn't care about the people involved, or the sport, or anything of that nature. That's just my read, but I think if people think about it, and they sit down and they ponder long and hard, I think you'll probably come to a similar conclusion that you have seen these people or know of these people. Same with the UFC video game fans. They don't care about the sport, okay? They care about the idea that the sport's a game, and how can it transfer over to the video game, and how can it be balanced? That's the word, right? MMA isn't balanced. Some techniques are better than others. MMA has a meta. So these people, they want the UFC game to not reflect the UFC or MMA, but reflect the ideal meta that everything is equal, and a leg kick is just as powerful as a jab as long as it lands correctly and has proper timing, and I know what I'm doing, right? And just to tack something onto that, I don't think these people are ruining the sport. It's just not the same as it used to be, and it's evolving in sort of a weird way. It doesn't have the same appeal, even though these people think it does. The issue mainly boils down to the idea that MMA conformed to society instead of the other way around. The world didn't get edgier or more accepting of combat sports. The UFC conformed to the modern world with modern sponsors, high-profile big money backers, on a network owned by the 40th biggest company in the world. That isn't counterculture, affliction t-shirts, and being banned from pay-per-view. This is going from being chaotic to being structured, being edgy to being sterile, dude wipes to prime, and I'm just not loving it. I'd like to know what you think too, so leave that in the comments. Kind of a touchy subject, started waffling a little bit at the end there. We reined ourselves back in, ladies and gentlemen. Like, comment, and subscribe for more MMA content. Once again, thank you all so much for watching, and have a good time.